For years, one specific complaint followed Pixel phones everywhere: overheating, dropped calls, weak signal in bad coverage areas. Google finally did something about it, and buried inside today's announcement is a decision so significant that most headlines are burying it under camera specs in a glowing LED ring. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly what changed, what it costs you now, and which of these 4 brand new phones is actually worth your money. Before we get into it, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, because there's a lot to unpack here, and you don't want to miss what's coming. The change hiding under the headlines. Every single phone in this new lineup, the Pixel 11, Pixel 11 Pro, Pixel 11 Pro XL, and Pixel 11 Pro Fold, runs on Google's new Tensor G6 chip, built on a 2-nanometer process alongside a Titan M3 security coprocessor. Google's claiming a 7-core CPU and a 50% jump in on-device AI performance. Respectable numbers, not the real story. Here's the real story. For the first time in Pixel history, Google ripped out Samsung's Exynos modem entirely and replaced it with MediaTek's M95G modem instead. That's not a spec bump. That's Google quietly admitting, after years of denial and workaround software patches, that the modem itself was the problem the whole time. If you've ever had a Pixel phone drop signal in an elevator or overheat during a video call, this is Google's answer to that exact complaint, finally, after multiple generations of pretending it wasn't a hardware issue. Every model ships with Android 17 and 7 years of promised OS updates, security patches, and Pixel drops. Still one of the strongest software commitments in the industry, and worth remembering before we get to the part where the pricing gets a little uncomfortable. Pixel 11, the one most people should actually watch closely. The base Pixel 11 starts at $899 with a 6.3-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display, up to 120 Hz refresh, and peak brightness rated at 3000 nits. Inside, 12 gigabytes of RAM, up to 512 gigabytes of storage, and a 4,985 mAh battery with 30-watt wired and 25-watt Qi 2.2 wireless charging. The camera is where this one gets genuinely interesting. A 48-megapixel main sensor, 13-megapixel ultra-wide, and 10.8-megapixel telephoto with 5 times optical zoom and 30 times digital super zoom. And Google claims the new main sensor pulls in 56% more light than last year's Pixel 10. That's not a marginal spec bump. That's the kind of number that should show up clearly in night shots. And here's a small detail that says a lot about how Google's actually listening now. The camera bar on this phone got 40% thinner, specifically because people kept complaining their phone rocked back and forth on a table. A tiny annoyance. Somebody at Google apparently got tired of hearing about it. Pixel 11 Pro and Pro XL, same DNA, different scale. The Pixel 11 Pro starts at $1,099. The larger Pro XL at $1,299. Same internals, same camera system, different screen sizes, 6.3 inches versus 6.8 inches. Both running LTPO LED panels with 1 to 120 Hz adaptive refresh and a genuinely blinding 3,600 nits of peak brightness. Here's where it gets a little sneaky though. RAM depends entirely on which storage tier you buy. Get the base 256 gigabyte model, you're getting 12 gigabytes of RAM. Step up to 512 gigabytes or a full terabyte, and suddenly you're getting 16 gigabytes, plus something Google calls zoned UFS storage for faster performance. In other words, the cheapest configuration of your flagship phone isn't actually running the full flagship experience under the hood. The camera system is the real upgrade here. 50 megapixel main, 48 megapixel ultra-wide with macro support, and a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto pushing true 5 times optical zoom with digital pro zoom stretching all the way out to 120 times using generative imaging models to reconstruct detail at extreme distances. Whether that actually looks good at 120 times zoom or just looks like AI guesswork is something worth watching real-world reviews for closely, the feature everyone's going to have an opinion about. Both Pro models introduce something genuinely new for Pixel, a ring of ambient LED lighting wrapped around the camera flash, called HiLight. It glows in custom colors to show Gemini is actively doing something, and it can flash different colors for calls from favorite contacts. Google says messages will get the same treatment eventually. This is the kind of feature that's either going to become an iconic pixel signature, the way the camera bar did, or it's going to quietly disappear in 2 generations, the same way plenty of gimmick features have on other phones before it. Time will tell which one this becomes. Pixel 11 Pro Fold, the durability pitch. At $1,899 for the 256GB model, which notably comes with 16GB of RAM standard, unlike the base tier on the other Pro phones. The Pixel 11 Pro Fold is available for pre-order today, releasing August 20th. Google's central pitch here is durability, specifically claiming the back glass is nearly impossible to crack. That's a bold claim for a foldable, a category that's had a genuinely rocky reputation for exactly that kind of failure. The camera setup takes a noticeable step down from the standard Pro line. 48-megapixel main, 10.5 megapixel ultra-wide, 10.8 megapixel telephoto, which tells you Google prioritized the folding mechanism and structural durability over matching the Pro XL's full imaging capability. Battery capacity sits at 4,750 milliampere hours, the smallest in the lineup, which makes sense given how much internal space a folding hinge actually eats up. Google's also using the bigger folding screen to push foldable-specific software. Sign language support in Live Transcribe, the new Bubbles multitasking feature in Android 17, quicker app switching through app handles, and new animation work on the Made You Look camera feature. There's even a leather-like case designed specifically to protect the hinge. The AI layer running underneath everything. Every phone in the lineup leans on-device Gemini Nano, powered by the Tensor G6's AI performance gains, magic capture for computational photography, and a new feature called Rambler that adds assisted speech-to-text directly into the keyboard. Pro buyers also get 6 months of Google AI Pro included free, which is a genuinely useful head start on Google's premium AI subscription tier if you were already planning to try it. Now here's the part Google really doesn't want to be the headline. Every single phone in this lineup costs roughly $100 more than its Pixel 10 equivalent. The base Pixel 11 jumped from $799 to $899. And here's the part that actually stings. The Pro XL costs $100 more than last year's model, while its base RAM configuration actually dropped from 16 gigabytes down to 12. You're paying more for less unless you specifically pay even more again to upgrade the storage tier. On top of that, Google quietly killed the 128 gigabyte option across the entire lineup. Every single model now starts at 256 gigabytes minimum, whether you actually needed that extra storage or not. That's not a coincidence. That's a company knowing exactly how to raise your effective spending floor without technically raising the sticker price on the headline configuration. Multiple early reviewers upgrading from a Pixel 9 or newer are already saying this generation feels more iterative than revolutionary. If you're coming from a Pixel 7 or older, though, this is a genuinely substantial jump. 2 full generations of chip improvements, a completely new modem, and a real low-light camera upgrade. So which one's actually worth it? The base Pixel 11 remains the smartest value pick for most people, even with the price increase, purely on the strength of that camera sensor upgrade and the thinner camera bar. The Pro and Pro XL are built for people who specifically want that periscope telephoto lens and the extended zoom range. Just make sure you're buying the storage tier that actually gets you the full RAM experience. And the Pixel 11 Pro Fold remains the more affordable entry point into foldables compared to most of its direct competition, now backed by a genuinely bold durability claim and software that finally feels built around the format instead of bolted onto it. Let me know in the comments which one you're actually considering, and if this helped you make sense of everything Google just announced, don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns like this one.